One of the questions that I get asked every day about remote viewing, resonant viewing, is what is it going to do for you? What is learning it do for you? What are the benefits? And I actually think now that's not quite the right question. The question is, what are you going to do for it? Because it really depends on how you define you, what you are. Once you learn resonant viewing, you find that actually you're much bigger than you thought you were because you exist at many different levels. And the process of learning resonant viewing actually gets you in touch with these different levels of yourself. And what's the biggest benefit of that? More creativity. You have access to more creativity of who you are, your ability to solve problems, make better decisions, act more spontaneously, and develop your intuition so that when you have all the challenges and the issues that all of us have every day in our lives, just dealing with the things that we deal with, you have a wider range of resources that are available to you, a wider range of thought processes, because you're able to tap deeper into your subconscious mind. And through your subconscious mind, you're able to tap into what I've called in the past planetary intelligence. You're able to tap into the intelligence of the planet, and going beyond that, this universal intelligence. It's very hard to really define, but you kind of know it when you experience it. It's when you're dealing with an issue, a question you have, and you kind of just spontaneously know the answer. It just kind of comes to you, not when you're really thinking about it really directly, but while you're resting or taking a walk or doing something else. And the solution or the answer pops into your mind, just kind of like Einstein had this realization that, imagining he was riding on a beam of light, the fact that the speed of light is constant and that time can dilate or contract depending on how fast we're moving relative to the speed of light. Those sort of big realizations that have really changed our civilization, changed our understanding of the world, come to people spontaneously. And they can come to you too. They've come to me a lot. It's when I'm actually in a resting state and relaxing and using my imagination that I kind of get the best ideas. So the process of learning resonant viewing, the biggest advantage and the biggest benefit I've found over the years, people keep asking me why I do it, it gets me in touch with a creative side of myself. And I've never found another technique that's so easy to learn that gets me in touch with my own creativity and a kind of bigger sense of self, a bigger sense of intelligence. I can't exactly define and tell you what this bigger sense of intelligence is, apart from giving it certain names like I've done in the past. But it's a larger global type of intelligence. And it really works for you. It provides you answers. It works automatically. It works spontaneously. It doesn't take a huge amount of effort to access it. The really big secret of all this is the way it works is by you getting out of your own way. When you get out of your own way, then you have access to this bigger type of intelligence. And the real magic of the resonant viewing system is it shows you how to deal with what we call the monkey mind, the conscious mind, so that you can get out of your own way and let this bigger intelligence come through. And one of the things that comes through when you let it come through is your ability to describe distant objects, peoples and places, things like that. But the bigger point is it gets you in contact with yourself, and by getting in contact with yourself, you have more access to all sorts of things that you have thought and think that you need and that you do all the time. It's just there waiting for you. It's more rather than like learning something new, it's like reminding yourself of something you already have but you forgot how to access. So it's like all the things that we want and we need and we desire, they're all waiting for us there. It's more like removing the blockages to our own intelligence, our own spontaneity, and our creativity if we want to have access to these things. And so the process of learning resonant viewing really taught me, and I think this is the most important point, is to trust my intuition, to trust my gut feelings. I always did, probably like you do, but the RV process told me and showed me how accurate our intuition and gut feelings can be by doing these sort of exercises that we do during the training process. And learning to trust those intuitions and spontaneity, it's just really the most valuable thing I think you can learn to do, because it shows you that really you have a lot more abilities and skills that you think you do. And more importantly, that you have a bigger decision-making ability and a greater access to your own intelligence than you think you have. And by learning to trust that spontaneous intelligence that we all have, built into us, you're just going to basically do a lot better at everything else you do. So this is really why I keep practicing RV, why I keep teaching it, and why I'm so excited about this whole area of resonance. It's just because we have a lot of abilities and resources available to us that we're not using. And we're told right now, that our society is in kind of a crisis, an economic sort of slowdown and so forth. I really ultimately don't believe that. I think the same resources are there that have always been available to us. It's just that we have a crisis of creativity. We've been ignoring who we are. We've been shutting down our creativity, and we haven't been given the subtler sides of ourselves the respect that it should be given, that opens up the doorway to that bigger intelligence. So that's really the bottom line. You want access to your creativity. You want to have access to that spontaneous intelligence. And the way you get access to it is not by trying harder and doing more. It's about reminding yourself of these subtle skills and energy sensing abilities that you have that basically, through no fault of your own, because of our educational system has not really taught you to respect those abilities, with a few exceptions. You have abilities that you probably don't know you have, and that's, for me, one of the biggest reasons why I found that RV really helped me. It showed me that I have much more skill and ability than I ever believed that I did. So let me just give you one example of how this can kind of work in daily life, so you can kind of see the kind of practical value of learning RV. As you may know, I've been going over to England for many years to give crop circle tours, study the crop circles, and study their strange effects and so forth. And last July, 2009, we went back there, and some of us were going up into this field to try to get a better view of a crop circle that we thought was in the area. And as we were getting sort of towards the apex of the hill, we saw a couple cows there. Now, normally cows aren't all that dangerous, but I just had a funny feeling about it, and I said, maybe we should find another way around. So we wanted to get to the top of the hill. We went all the way around the cows and kind of had a better view of the area. And when we got to the top, although we didn't find the crop circle we were looking for, all of a sudden we saw that there was a bull there right behind the cows we had seen. Now, this isn't something I saw when I was walking up there, but I had that intuition, that gut feeling, don't go any farther. It just doesn't feel quite right. I'm sure you know that feeling, that you've had it from time to time also. So just learning to pay attention to that feeling saved us from that encounter with that bull, because even though we were really far away from those cows by the time we got to the top of the hill, the bull saw us and started walking towards us, and there were some calves around there too, so the bull was feeling very protective. Now, if we had walked up right underneath that bull and the calves and the cows, we don't know what would have happened. We might have been charged. So it's just one example of things I find in my daily life almost, several times a week, where I get a gut feeling, and whereas before I might not have paid so much attention to it, now I know from having studied RV for so many years and been involved with this whole process of resonance that those gut feelings and intuitions are very real, very important, and often extremely accurate. So there's a lot of practical value to this, and I think anyone who's been involved with this for a while can see that. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little presentation so far. In the next video, what I'm going to do is talk about why the whole resonant viewing process works better when you think less. So anyway, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon. Take care.